Try it again. Sorry. Today's meeting on the Committee of Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management is being held in public session. The committee met in executive session earlier today to discuss matters involving ongoing negotiations or reviews of contracts or proposals. At this point, I ask the Secretary to advise those present of the composition of the committee and any commissioner recusals on the items before the committee.
Thank you. The Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management is composed of Vice Chairman Linford, the committee chair, Chairman O'Toole, the committee vice chair, and Commissioners Helmy, LaBarbera, and Rosado. All committee members are present. In addition to the committee members, Commissioners Olwage, Cohen, Eve, Fisher, Kelly, McCabe, and Richardson are also present. There are no recusals required.
Thank you. I now call on our Director of Sport Department, Beth Ann Rooney, to present an item that would authorize a wharf rehabilitation program for New York and New Jersey Port Authority marine terminals. Thank you. You're on. Where are you, Beth?
I'm right here.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Vice Chairman, Commissioners. The Port Department is seeking authorization today of a priority marine rehabilitation program to conduct major wharf rehabilitation work at our marine terminals. We further request authorization for the Executive Director to enter into master agreements with pre-qualified firms and delegated authority to award contracts for multiple competitively bid work order packages at an estimated cost of $100 million over 5 years. We have structured this program to be scalable, flexible, and efficient in order to address critical priority rehabilitation at key facilities. This program will ensure that the wharves remain functioning and in a state of good repair until capital rehabilitation obligations can be shifted to port tenants or otherwise funded in the capital program. Let us first start with just a general understanding of what is a wharf. Focusing for a moment on our container facilities, a container terminal is typically a very large, mostly open area that allows for the stacking and temporary storage of containers after they come off a vessel and before they leave the terminal by truck or rail. Container vessels tie up alongside the edge of this facility parallel to the shoreline. The term berth refers to the location where the ship parks at the terminal, and the term wharf refers to the structure that the ships tie up to. The area shown in red here is the wharf structure. Most of the work that would be performed under this program will be done in the water under the wharf deck where it is not seen. Most of the port's wharves are decades old, with key structural elements built on timber wood piles dating back to the 1920s and 1930s. While the water quality in the harbor has dramatically improved in the last couple of decades, it has led to a resurgence of the marine borer, an invertebrate worm-like creature that feeds on timber piles. And I have an exhibit here today of a former pile that has been eaten by marine borers. Very exciting. Engineering's Quality Assurance Division inspects our facilities every 3 years and has identified thousands of repairs that are needed to the wharf structures. Working together to prioritize the required repairs, we have identified approximately 1,700 repairs that will be the focus of this contract we are seeking authorization for. The rehabilitation work will add up to 15 years of life to each repaired element. Ultimately, these wharves must all be reconstructed and replaced using current design standards and material specifications, specifically steel and concrete, in place of timber. The program we are seeking authorization for today does not fund reconstruction. Reconstruction will be performed either by our tenants as part of negotiated lease terms or as future Port Authority capital programs. Historically, this type of repair work has been done through relatively small work order contracts. Working with the engineering department, we have determined that we must complete the current repairs in a more timely manner. This program is designed to provide the required speed, scale, and flexibility, and models a similarly successful approach used in the past by the aviation department. To begin, we expect to solicit a publicly advertised RFQ to develop 2 pre-qualified lists of marine construction contractors, one for minority firms and one for traditional firms, but with set minority participation goals. We will then enter into master agreements with each qualified firm by the end of Q1 2024. Using QAD cyclical inspections, which provide the basis for the scope of work, we will develop individual work order packages specific to discrete sections of wharf. Each work package will then be released to the appropriate pre-qualified list based on the value of the work. A contract award will be made to the low bidder on authority delegated to the Chief of Procurement. In accordance with the agency's discretionary program, the A list will be used for work valued at $2.5 million or less, while the B list will be used for larger projects over $2.5 million. We expect the first work order package to go out for bid to pre-qualified firms by the end of the second quarter of 2024. Throughout the program, we will be coordinating closely with our terminal operators and tenants to minimize disruption, and internally, we will be coordinating with engineering and procurement and reporting progress and participation in the MWBE and SDVBE goals. Overall, we estimate just over $100 million in construction and a total program cost of $180 million, inclusive of planning and design, contingency, and agency allocations. $130 million will be drawn from the Port Department's capital plan allocation, with the remaining $50 million coming from the agency's interim maintenance contingency fund, consistent with the COVID budget. Again, we are requesting today that the board authorize a program for priority wharf rehabilitation work at port facilities at an estimated total program cost of $180 million, and that the executive director be authorized to enter into master work order agreements with pre-qualified firms and award contracts to deliver the program via competitively bid procured work order packages. I thank you for your time today, and I'd be happy to address any questions or concerns that you might have.
Thank you, Beth Ann. I would also like to commend you on your show and tell item. I think it will be remembered as equivalent to when the aviation department brought in hazmat suits for all of us and we had to don them. So we will remember that. And do I have any commissioner colleagues who want to make a comment or question on this matter? Okay, may I please have a motion from a committee member?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, are there any objections? Hearing none, the motion is passed. This concludes today's meeting of capital planning, execution, and asset management, and I turn it back to our august chairman.
Thank you, Vice Chair. We'll now begin the joint meeting of committees on capital planning, execution, asset management, and operations. Today's meeting on the joint committees on capital planning, execution, asset management, and operations is being held in public in its entirety. At this point, we ask the board secretary to advise of the composition of the committee and ask reveal any recusals.
A committee on capital planning, execution, and asset management is composed of Vice Chairman Linford, the committee chair, Chairman O'Toole, the committee vice chair, and Commissioners Helmy, LaBarbera, and Rosado. Committee on operations is composed of Chairman O'Toole, the committee chair, Vice Chairman Linford, the committee vice chair, and Commissioners Kelly, LaBarbera, and McCabe. All committee members are present. Also present are Commissioners Bolwage, Cohen, Eve, Fisher, and Richardson. There are no recusals required.
Thank you, Board Secretary. I now call upon our Director of Rail Transit, Clarel DeGraff, to review an item concerning a path, track, and rail car state of good repair program to improve the reliability of path service. Clarel, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chairman. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Today, PATH is seeking board authorization to maintain certain components of PATH's rail car fleet and track sections in a state of good repair at a total program cost of $230 million. I am also requesting authorization for the president of PATH to take various contractual commitments necessary to deliver this program. This program is the next chapter of the agency's significant and sustained investment in the PATH rail system. Over the past decade, the agency has had a steady and continuous focus on PATH. This slide represents a few of the projects that have been undertaken to maintain the system in a state of good repair, make necessary repairs following Superstorm Sandy, and make the system more resilient from future storms and expand system capacity. Over the past decade, the agency has invested $2.6 billion in PATH, and the program I will be discussing today will build upon that prior investment. Within this program, approximately $62 million total project costs will be used to rehabilitate a significant number of trucks on PATH rail cars. Trucks serve as the suspension system of a rail car. These components require rehabilitation on a significant portion of the rail car fleet and would include the replacement of certain obsolete parts. We will also retain professional services to help us define and prepare for the next major car overhaul. The majority of the funding, approximately $168 million total project costs, will go towards the rehabilitation of multiple segments of the track network located west of the Hudson River. This work is expected to improve both the performance of the railcar fleet and the reliability of rail operations. The railcar work will optimize railcar availability by replacing failing and obsolete components, specifically the railcar truck components, which includes the railcar's chassis, axles, and wheels, were identified as in need of rehabilitation on approximately 138 cars to improve their performance. On the right-hand side of the slide is a rendering of the train's truck. Under this program, we would also retain consultants to identify new strategies to improve fleet logistics and management and assist with defining the scope for a future overhaul of the railcar fleet. The track work scope would help improve on the performance and reliability of the track network. The specific area of work is between Journal Square, Hoboken, and Exchange Place stations. These areas, which are mostly located within tunnels, were last rehabilitated over 20 years ago. As the proposed program will require certain service interruptions to perform the track work, we are developing a robust outreach plan to get the word out well before work commences. We will also be communicating with passengers, the local communities, and other stakeholders throughout construction to maintain an elevated awareness of service impacts and alternatives. We will also be closely coordinating this work with other regional transit providers, both to ensure that our work doesn't conflict with theirs and to provide our PATH customers with alternate options to reach their destinations during PATH service disruptions. Here are the details of the total program cost and the expected duration. As I mentioned previously, there will be extensive outreach prior to the commencement of any track work under the program. In summary, I'm requesting that you recommend this program to the full board for consideration at today's public board meeting. The total program is $230 million and encompasses both repairs to components of the PATH railcar fleet and track improvements west of the Hudson River. As part of the program request, I'm also requesting that you authorize the president of PATH to enter into contracts and agreements to deliver the program, including professional services, materials and services contracts, and track work order contracts. And that's the end of my presentation. I'll take any questions now.
Great, Clarell, thank you. A couple of things. This is a massive investment, almost $250 million, $230 million. We talk about service interruption. Let's talk about what happens if we don't make this investment into PATH.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had these type of repairs or improvements over 2 decades. Assuming we don't do this, we don't put that investment in, what's the future look like?
The future will look like continued service interruptions. The rail car, it's over half its life with our cars, and they will continue to deteriorate. if they don't have this massive rehabilitation in preparation for the next overhaul. So you'll continue to see delays on our system. Also, our track network, over 20 years of rail network that's in the system, will continue. We'll have from water infiltration, we'll see breakages and continued track conditions occurring. So this is really to support more reliable service, a little bit of pain for more reliable service and increasing capacity.
Well, there's going to be some pain points. It's going to cause, as you say, some service interruption. Could be some closures at some point in time, which you're going to do this robust outreach, which is obviously necessary. 2024 is going to be an exciting year for PATH. It's going to get a facelift.
Huge.
72 new cars. These improvements, once they're finished, is going to, I think, make a remarkable improvement.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to it, but let's make sure that those pain points are reduced as best and as narrowly as humanly possible.
Yeah, we're looking at that now, Commissioner. And
other-
Commissioner Linford, I am sorry, I would have brought a truck here for you as show and tell, but it wouldn't fit through the door. So,
Thank you. Next time.
Any other commissioners have any comments or questions? Okay, thank you very much. May I please have a motion from a committee member who's not recused?
So move.
Second? Any objections? Hearing none, the motion is passed and we'll move forward. That concludes today's joint meeting on the capital planning, execution, and asset management and operations. And we will now move on to the board meeting. Thank you, Jim. Public board meeting.